SEO is really important on LinkedIn. So it's about search engine optimization. You can also tell your weekly search appearances, and you can measure it and monitor it on a weekly basis. If you look on the app, for example, under the summary section, you can see what your weekly search appearances are. Now, it won't surprise you to know that's the highest in the universe, because that's what we do for a living. Yes?
So just coming back to the point about being American and being Asian.
Yes.
How much is too much? Because in Asia, if you do a lot of it, right, yeah, people would say that you're full of yourself. How do you?
It's a very good question. It's a very, very good question. It's basically, you have to be comfortable in your own skin doing it. So I'll give you a good example. When I was in England, I didn't need to do it. Didn't really do very much on LinkedIn at all, because I knew everybody in London. I've been in London 20 years, I knew everybody. I didn't need to try hard. When I came to Singapore, I need to try hard. You know, I didn't have a mohawk in London. You need to basically stand out a bit more. You have to basically do things very conservative, or as conservative as someone kind of like who works for things like the Times, for example, could be in London. But in other places, particularly for an expat, you have to shine out more. You have to actually make more of an effort to actually say, we're good at this is what we do, and go from there. I know it's kind of like you have to be, Asians aren't particularly kind of want to actually get up there and say it's fantastic, which is why there aren't many Singaporean CEOs of big multinationals on LinkedIn. You can't find, for example, the Singapore Airlines CEO. You can't find Singtel CEO. You can't find CPF's CEO. I think that's a different reason. He doesn't want to answer all the questions about why people aren't getting 6%. They're getting 4% instead. That's a different section. But you have to be comfortable in your own skin. And culturally, you have to be aware of it as well. But if you don't do it, you basically risk not being able to sell yourself. And then you get someone going, oh, I wish you'd told me you did that. Oh, I would have given you this business if you told me you did that. So it's better, I think, personally, as an entrepreneur, to be overselling and have people saying, oh, it's too much, Chris, but you basically let everyone know what you do. Because then at least you go, oh, doesn't that Chris Reed guy, doesn't that LinkedIn stuff? You know, and then people know what you do. But you have to be comfortable in your own skin doing it. I think it's very important. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're a salesperson like myself, it's easier than, say, you work for a big corporate like DBS, for example. So it's a very difficult question, but I think it's a very personal question. Yes, Steve?
Can I ask the question the other way around?
Yes.
One of the things I get, because as you know, and a few people around here know, I do a lot of things.
You do?
My life is pro bono. You go through my LinkedIn profile, I'm chairman of this, chairman of that, do this for the government, blah, 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 blah. And I tend to be pretty modest. I don't put my honours and things after my name and whatever.
Yeah.
But people do come to me and say, how on earth can you focus on your business when you're doing, you know, you've got 15 things which are pro bono? I mean, is there a way of compressing that, or?
But you're telling a good story, because you're telling him a story about how much you're giving back to the country that you live in, and the country you lived in for many, many years. So you're telling a good story about it. People know to come to you to basically ask for a favor or ask to help in this particular area, and they probably know that you're going to say yes, because you're that kind of person. You actually give back a lot. And so it's a good thing that you're actually doing that. And I think most people who know that you basically are doing lots of pro bono stuff know it's not full-time work. And you're basically fitting it in, you're very good at managing your time, and you separate your time out. So I think you tell that story in your summary section, you tell that story in the experience section, and you let people know doing that. But it is, again, it's a very much a personal thing.
I tend to be on the modest side.
Yeah, so it's entirely up to you. So one way of getting more search appearances is by doing this. So I have about 200 positions, and that's because I copy and paste my positions in different countries. Because LinkedIn's a search engine. It's a bit like if you have a .sg and a .com. .sg is great if you're just in Singapore. It doesn't work in other countries though. .com works across the world. Same on LinkedIn. If you only put your work position as being in Singapore, you'll only get work in Singapore. Because if someone does a search for you in Australia or Africa or China, they will find the local person who does that job. So you have to actually copy and paste those positions. So you can actually do something like this, for example, where you have Sydney, Melbourne, London, Shanghai, Hong Kong, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. So you basically want to make people aware that if basically someone searches for me, for example, for Masterclass about LinkedIn in Melbourne, they will find me. It's one of the reasons my search appearances are so far up. The other thing you should do is actually create a company page, even if you are a single person in a company, because it presents you in a different way. Yes?
The question, if you put all these in like every single time, wouldn't that make your profile so endless that it's impossible to actually get through and find out what you have done?
Yes. No, but it's purely...
goes just trying to get through it.
No, it's a very good point, but you only see 5 positions. Be found. So if you put LinkedIn Melbourne, you can be found for doing LinkedIn in Melbourne. If you don't put LinkedIn Melbourne, you put LinkedIn Singapore, you ain't going to be found in Melbourne. So it's about your aspirations, about being found. It's the same reason, again, why you have a .com rather than a .sg. And I made that mistake. I had a .asia when I first came to, when I first started black marketing thing. I'm in Asia, I'll have .asia. And I started winning European clients and American clients going, okay, this is a mistake, because they were all asking me, why have you got a .asia? I go, okay, I better buy the .com. And the .com was 5 times more expensive by the time I went round to buying it. So you've basically got to think globally. We're in a global economy, and LinkedIn's very much global. So I think this is purely about SEO, and that's about, create a company page. So you'll see Kath here, for example, has 1 employee, it's Kath. And her logo is her picture, because that's what she does. But she presents herself from an SEO point of view through having a company page, telling people what you do, and it's free, of course. The company page on LinkedIn free, yes?
I don't need a book.
Okay.
What does SEO mean?
Sorry, search engine optimization.
Thank you. And are you saying that you've got 153 profiles on LinkedIn? Is that what you're saying?
Jobs, yes. Jobs.
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 Okay. So one profile.
One profile.
But you list all these different countries where
Correct.
where
we do business. Correct.
Okay.
So you get found in those areas. Okay. And then if you have basically got, for example, a company that is a niche area, you create a company page for it so you can be found. The same way you have for websites, for example, you have different websites for your brand names, you should do the same thing on LinkedIn so it comes up. Put your keywords up there. You see, Jane does the same thing. Jane actually has, basically, it's just her logo is basically her picture, and she's a small business, but she's got a company page because it's free and it's good marketing. So it's very good to actually do that. Your question?
Yep, I don't need a book. It's just you have a huge follower on company page, and you have individual when you start.
Yeah.
Is that where you can merge this from the personal profile to get this large number of followers from the company?
No, because people don't follow companies on LinkedIn, they follow people.
Is there any way to link them?
You can link them because you're doing this.
You can follow.
So you can basically follow company pages and you can basically add it there so you can encourage people, but people don't follow company pages on LinkedIn, they follow people.
Right, I got that. Would that boost up the individual profile followers just by link the company page?
By having the experience here, obviously you're letting people know what you do. Is that what you mean? And so you boost it up by actually having a keywords here, like Jane has got, leadership, change, business. So she's boosted because she's using SEO by doing that, both outside of LinkedIn and inside LinkedIn.
Would that link her page to her?
That goes to her company page, yes. So her company page also then is optimized as well through SEO.
Okay.
So then you need to basically create using things like keywords. So if you did a search on personal branding, I got 65,000 results on my LinkedIn. I can number 1 because I got personal branding here, personal branding here, personal branding here. So it's all about using keywords in the same way you would do it for your website. So it's the same kind of principle. So Google and LinkedIn work in the same principle. And say, you notice everyone else, personal branding, personal branding. If you don't put personal branding in your headline, you won't be found. And somebody else will, and somebody else will get that job or get that opportunity.